Well, good morning, folks. This is Doug here. Um, First of all, I want to show you my cup. Isn't that a pretty thing? Yeah. This is one of Bill Peterson's Skipjack Sunday cups. He has them on his site, Skipjack Sunday. And the artwork was done by him from the pictures he took at the skipjack races in the Upper Chesapeake Bay back in the early 1960s, actually. Bill is a skipjack sailor himself. As a young man, he owned a skipjack and sailed it in the Chesapeake Bay, and I'm sure has fond memories of that, as they were really a fine boat. Okay. That cup, by the way, gives me pleasure every time I drink out of it. Just look at it. Isn't it beautiful? It really is pretty. Okay. Last night, I put some pictures on my timeline of a Baltimore clipper. As a boy, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, maybe 6, I don't know, in the late, maybe 1937 time frame, my dad and I went crabbing. We walked out on the bulkhead at where the Baltimore Municipal Airport was being built, and they were dumping tons and tons and tons of sand behind the bulkhead to fill it up to make the airport there. The sand came off of Kimmel's Mountain in front of our home there in Dundalk Farms, where we went up to pick berries quite often before they cut it off. So anyway, Dad and I walked out on the bulkhead, water on both sides. It wasn't filled behind there yet, and he told me, he said, "Doug, let me tell you something now. If you fall overboard, you start dog paddling towards that ladder over there, and I'll dive in after you. I won't swim you over there, but I'll swim along with you. And if you get too tired that you just can't paddle anymore, I'll help you. But I won't climb up the ladder for you. You'll have to do that yourself. I'll follow you." And because well, you know, he was he had an odd attitude. He told me one time, he said, "Boy," he said, I won't do nothing for you. I'll teach you how to do it yourself. Because one day you got to grow up and be a man. You got to know how to do stuff." So anyway, I kind of took that to heart. Anyway, we went on out crabbing there, and I think we had 2 bushels of crabs, probably after about an hour and a half or 2 hours. We had about 20 lines out baited, and we walked up and down the bulkhead I hauled the lines in. Dad said, "You got a real touch for that boy." And so I hauled the lines in, and he dipped up the crabs. Well, he pointed off in the distance. He said, "Look at there, Doug." And here come a Baltimore clipper sailing around the point there, heading up into the Patapsco River. Oh, man, was that a sight. And he said, "Doug," he said, "that may be the last clipper ship you will ever see in the Chesapeake Bay, because they're disappearing." And he said, "She is a work of art." And so we watched her. She come on tacking up the bay, and she tacked over to the southern shore, and about an hour later, here she come tacking across right towards us. Well, they had taken down her main topsail, which was a 4 1/2 sail, and they were removing her top gallant as she came along. But boy, she didn't miss the sails any. She was still moving, and she got probably less than a quarter of a mile from us, and went on her port tack. heading for Federal Hill. And she was kind of ratty looking in her paint job. Her paint was peeling off of her. She was, her sails were not the best in the world. But she was still beautiful in her lines. There was a love affair between her and I. Yeah, well, anyway, I just wanted to tell how I felt about this because I had put the picture on my timeline, and it meant a lot to me.